It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your genitals are? It's going to be that kind of show. Hi! We're making Christmas, making Christmas. See, we're very festive. And I've got my cup of, virgin's blood, freshly made. Oh, wait, hold on. Am I doubling up here? Hang on a second. Technical difficulties. Yep, sorry about that. Moment. Hi, let's try this again. Yes, we are totally professional here. Ultimate guide to, well, technically this one is the Spookymare before Christmas. As most of you know, Hurricane Matthew kind of just canceled everything, and that was a major, major disaster. But because of the benevolence of the Spooky family and because of the love of the community, Spooky was able to overcome and came back with a vengeance. And I think, first of all, PD, Gina, the whole staff, just the whole community did a hell of a job pulling together what they pulled together in 6 weeks. So first of all, congratulations. You did a hell of a job for 6 weeks. Before I introduce the co-hosts tonight, I'm going to do the finger dance. I want you to subscribe. And then, of course, the playlist of stuff. And the big disclaimer. Number one, we may or may not be responsible for some of the behavior that happens on this podcast because we are trying to be family friendly, but we don't always succeed. That's first off. Second off, we are not official Spooky staff. We are longtime con-goers. This is from the fans' perspective. We are not Spooky staff. We are not paid by Spooky. Sometimes, depending on what it is, we are Spooky endorsed. But okay, and okay, well, first of all, this guy with the mask, Mr. Captain Vanilla over here.
Good evening. Captain Vanilla.
We have him joining us. And then, of course, the infamous Daddy Mike. What's up, Daddy Mike? Of the Spooky Empire Brute Squad, which we will get to momentarily. So, let's see. What did we want to start out with? Oh, we actually want to, Rob actually mentioned he wanted to start out with what your highlight of the spooky weekend was. So, Rob, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, the highlight. That was my suggestion? Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that's what you thought we'd start out with, is get into everything.
That makes sense. It's okay. Well, you know what? The highlight of my convention, it's hard to pick one. I actually had a pretty good con, and I'm not the most, like, I typically go to Spookies these days, but that's about it. Let's see, the highlight. I enjoyed, well, it was kind of an unofficial event, the Spooky Sock Exchange, where about 2 or 3 dozen of us got together and did a stocking exchange with, goofy Christmas-themed socks. That was good fun.
It was spooky style, completely Spooky Empire.
So, booze and other horrible things involved. And then probably meeting Weird Al Yankovic. That's someone who I've wanted to see since I think as long as I can, once I've been around. If I recall, I think I remember seeing them play Ricky on an episode of Captain Kangaroo in the early 80s. So, it's been around me for a long time. He's been around me for a long time, and I got finally meet him and say thank you. So that was cool.
So he was cool?
Yeah, he was cool. I mean, he wasn't the most high-key guest, but he was very friendly. And you could tell he was a little bit tired, worn out. But, I mean, he was still absolutely a gentleman, just very, very awesome. Talked to me, talked to my kid. It was cool.
That's good. It's always good when they talk to the kids.
Yeah.
All right.
It's nice. And, it's so many times when you meet your hero, so to speak, they let you down, and that was not the case. So.
Ain't that the truth? All right. Well, Mike, what about you? Your highlight of spooky weekend? Highlights.
Highlights. Well, I guess for me, it was, I don't know about everybody else, and I know a lot of people are not on board with it, but Ric Flair, that was my highlight. Hey, for those that are longtime wrestling fans, you know what I say, you know what I mean when I say that. Got to talk to him for a little bit at the table, and he remembered doing a wrestling tour way back, early 90s, like 91, 90, 91, somewhere around there, when I was still in the Army. So this is a long time ago, over 20 years ago. And he remembered doing the tour then, and and I was given an early Christmas gift of a photo and autograph. So like,
Aw.
I was happy for the rest. That was it for me. That was, so that was my day. So I have to thank the wife for that, and that was my early Christmas gift, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
You know,
So
we
that's
had
my
on the
highlight.
spooky bingo. Hold on, we had on the spooky bingo actually. Every time you heard someone go woo, you had to take a shot. So I imagine some people probably left on the stretchers, after some alcohol poisoning. I heard woo many, many times. But I also
Yeah,
have to give Ric Flair. He was amazing with the kids. I watched him with the kids. Oh my God. I have
yeah,
rarely seen
he
someone more personable with the kids than Ric Flair. Who would have thought?
and here's even at his when he did his Q&A,
Hmm.
he was his phone rang and he said it was his daughter. Of course she's a wrestler right now also, but he was like, he looked at it and he's like, I'll get, and he punched it and kind of threw it away and was like, she can wait. So I was like,
Wow.
and I understand, but for him to just like, hey, she can wait, I'm having fun. Awesome.
That was really cool. That was really cool.
Yeah, man. I'd love to know some of the things he's done in hotels in Orlando over the last 40, 50 years. That man has led kind of a life.
Well, didn't
You
you read
know,
his biography? So I'm sure he's got some stories in there,
Yeah,
right?
he does.
biography.
And that's one of those things that, yeah, you want to know, but you don't want to know. You know, that's
It's funny. His biography, another wrestler once described it. He was working with him. He was like, "Yeah, Rick just wrote that book. You everyone read it? Yeah, he's told me the real stories. You guys got the PG version."
That's really cool. Well,
And what about you?
highlights for me, obviously the Spooky Empire Christmas, the stock exchange, which was just an illustration of how much of a family Spooky is, which I'm going to interject, and I'm going to put the link up here. Just in the past couple days, I learned some students from Full Sail put together a video on Spooky.
I
And
saw that, and I didn't get to watch
yeah,
it, but I saw it, and it was like, if you
I'm
like
going to put the
spooky,
link
this
right up
is
here, and everyone's going to be able to watch it. I think everyone should. Anyone who's ever wondered why we are as rabid as we are about Spooky, and why we get the way we do in the threads, and of course I troll and whatnot, and why, watch this video,
yeah.
and you'll see why. I just wanted to bring that up. But the Spooky Sock Exchange, there was about 30 of us. We did a typical sock exchange, but with a spooky twist, and it was so fun that we're all looking forward to doing it again. I mean, that was great. Dressing up as Tourist Satana from Faster Pussycat Kill Kill as Varla, even though a lot of people didn't get it, that's okay. I went up to Kane Hodder. Now, if y'all know Kane Hodder is like 10 feet tall and like 800 pounds. The guy is massive. The guy's a brick wall. Tiny little 5'6" me goes up to him and says, "Okay, well, if you've seen the movie, you know she's a man killer. She's a big bully. That's what she does." He let me, because every time you take a picture with Kane, he's choking you, and he's got
He's
hands the
choking
size of your
somebody.
head. Yeah,
I
his
have
hands,
I have
they're
funny
like
story about
weapons of
that
mass
when
destruction.
you're done.
I went up to him and I asked him. I said, "Is it okay if we pose?" And he let me twist his arm behind his back and choke him and do. But it's like I got the most amazing picture, and he was super cool about it. And we sat there and talked, and then of course he just like, how rare that is, and he had to go choke like 3-4 people afterwards just to make up for me getting him in the headlock. So I'm like, that was pretty big too. So I gotta appreciate that one.
Yeah, no, and like I said, and not to take away from him because he is a sizable individual, but
Hmm.
we got a picture next to him, and I ain't gonna say nothing, but
Oh yeah.
I could take him.
But yeah, but Spooky putting everything together the way they did, it absolutely was a Christmas miracle. The staff, like I said, we got to give major kudos to the staff. Even with our gripes that we will get into, we did have some gripes. Altogether, the fact that they pulled this off in 6 weeks
See,
and
my
did everything they did.
my gripes aren't with them. It's more with the hotel.
Well,
There's only one issue, but that's just me.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, speaking of which, let's see. Okay, you know what? Let's start off with the hotel. Mike, you said you had a gripe with the hotel.
Yeah. My biggest
What was your gripe with the hotel?
with the hotel, it's got to be something in the air conditioning. It's got to be because before I got to the convention, I was fine. Get there in the room, turn the air on, and was fine for a little bit. Then throughout
Sorry,
the
not a
course of the
virgin.
weekend, every time I was in the room, it was just like my nose, my sinuses were killing me. I couldn't breathe right. But then when I left the room and walked outside, I was fine. So I think it's something in the air conditioning units of the room. It was I couldn't breathe in there, and it was ridiculously horrible. I mean, but that's just me. I don't know about everybody else. I don't know if
I
everyone
also,
else had the same issue, but that was me.
yeah, I had the same, very, very similar problem. I was getting maybe 5 hours of sleep at night at most. And I mean, I'm going to bed early. I'm one of those people who doesn't, stay up real late. And there was something, it was like I was breathing in the Sahara Desert. I was completely dry after no time. Woke up with nosebleeds. At night, I was trying to just, drink as much water as I could to just, fight whatever the dryness in the air was. That AC was absolutely a killer. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I was not a fan of that either.
and I know they did a lot of renovations, which is great. And the bed was fine. The bed was great. I liked the bed. The room
Yeah,
was fine.
I love the bed. I haven't
And
slept that well in a while, so I give thumbs up to the bed. But
but it was that was my biggest issue was the way the just not being able to breathe when I was in the room, and that was really it.
yeah, that seemed to be a pretty common problem. One of the other problems that I heard from a lot of people, and it didn't necessarily affect me, thankfully, the no mask rule. Apparently, the Rosen Center had a rule that you were not allowed to wear masks.
I heard
When you
about
got
that.
a horror convention in town, Rob, you look like you have something you want to say about that.
No, it didn't affect me either, but it was it was amusing. It was an amusing rule considering who a good chunk of their guests were.
Yeah, and like
You run around in all the blood you want, run around in all the makeup you want, carry whatever weapon, or, well, not a whatever weapon, but look as scary as you want. Just don't wear a mask.
yeah,
Well done. And they definitely enforced.
and like I
They
said,
definitely.
I didn't have that issue, so I wasn't aware of.
I heard it from a lot of other people.
Yes, I
I
didn't
heard
have
from
that
a lot
issue,
of other
so
people.
I wasn't aware of that. But given the scope of how things have been going lately,
Which
uh,
I understand. I
you know,
understand. But I mean, this is something that I think should have been uh, brought, our attention should have brought this previously. I'm sure Spooky didn't know, but somehow there was a miscommunication. So we weren't allowed to wear masks. People got yelled at.
right?
Um, the staff was pretty rude about it too, from the stories I've understood. And the other thing, and I think Rob found this very amusing, every year Spooky usually shares their space with somebody else. Now, Rob,
Mhm.
who did Spooky share the Rosen with this year?
Oh, there were a lot of groups. Sunday morning, there was like a mom and child meet Santa group going
I
on.
saw that.
Um,
I told
there was
Sheila.
a
That's funny. It really is.
there was a church group that had something going on, something big going on Sunday.
A black group church.
There was a corporate, Sunday morning there was another big corporate event going on Friday night. But Saturday night was awesome. Saturday night was the local TV Emmys were being held, the Suncoast Emmy Awards. So all the local news people, all the local TV, personalities, whatnot, they're all walking around in tuxedos, and the women are wearing beautiful ball gowns. And then on occasion, you see a guy in zombie makeup, and you see, the dark bishop with his full, satanic makeup on, walking around, and they were very confused. Make the mistake. I heard two women there in these very elegant gowns there and trying to figure out why are there these people here. And I made the mistake of, I mistook their bitching for genuine curiosity. And, I was in a Hawaiian shirt, jeans, looking completely, as mainstream as you can. And I said, well, there's the horror convention and And she's like, well, why would they have it now? Like, well, it was, pushed back due to Hurricane Matthew. Well, why are they having it now? I'm like, oh, you don't really care. You just want to complain. Your mistake.
But there was also some other event, like, because I saw a bunch of elder women, like Indian women in saris running around.
There was a Pakistani doctor convention or an Indian doctor convention.
Something
Yeah,
like
there
that.
was
So these were all
on
together.
Saturday as well.
Yeah, no, there was also a group of, they had like some kind of veterinarian convention thing going on.
And the best
There's a-
one of all was a guy celebrating his first year of sobriety. They had booked a whole party for him.
Beautiful.
On your sobriety. I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, you are in the wrong spot, Jack.
Come
No,
down. What's going on upstairs on the second floor?
oh,
That was something else, and we're going to get into this a couple of times throughout the webcast, but the organization wasn't as good as we would have liked, especially about the after parties, which we will get to. But the majority of the cool kids were all hanging out on the second floor patio, where I guess they didn't enforce the no mask rules, all the masks and everything. Second floor patio, that's where all the spooky nut jobs were.
The second floor.
So that's where we were partying. If you were wondering where the party was.
Yeah, that's where the smoke was allowed. So that's why security doesn't want to be out there. So.
Okay.
I'll say that I'm still trying to figure out the whole mask issue because, again, I wasn't one with a mask, so I can't speak on that. But
yeah, but I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you got your Freddys and you got your Jasons and you got your Michael Myers, and there's a bunch of them, and they're running around. And of course, if you're not allowed to have a mask, that's a whole costume. Plus, you got Krampus, and so. It wasn't at the convention center, it was at the Rosen, so it's just like you had to take it off until you went outside. It was a whole big thing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I didn't, like I said, I didn't have any of those issues, so I can't speak on those. Don't know.
Yeah.
On the other side, on the positive notes of the hotel, though, they did have a tequila bar. There was a sushi bar that was supposedly pretty good. The accommodation was very nice. It was lovely.
Oh, Mike's disappearing. Okay. All right. Well, then let's get into the biggest issue of the convention, and I think everybody had a problem with this, the walk.
The walk.
Now, yes, the walk. And, if you were at the Spooky last year at the Hyatt, everybody complained about that walk. No one will ever complain about that walk ever again. If you didn't lose 10 pounds.
Every time we complain about the walk, they're going to put the host hotel further away from the actual hotel. So here's my theory. Tons of people are going to complain about the walk and then have a hotel drive in the counter. Just a thought.
Okay. But the walk was pretty rough, first of all. I don't think most of us made the Monster and Misfit Mayhem March or something like that, just because it was too far to walk. I mean, there was the Roman, and then you had what, Rob?
Well, go ahead. Well, I was gonna say I think people missed out more on it just due to the planning. It was kind of a short notice convention.
Of course, it was short notice. There's only so much they could do. I completely understand that, but I mean, BB King's was the completely opposite side. Yeah. So.
Well, there's else to host it on that side of the convention center, though. I mean, after that, you have.
That was my point.
520.
Yeah, that was my point. Originally, it was supposed to be at the Hyatt and the convention center, where there's a skywalk, where it's right across the street and not even half the distance of what we ended up walking. So, I mean, I understand and they could only do so much, but the Rosen Center.
Yeah. We were lucky to get a host hotel at all with that short notice.
No, absolutely.
I mean, the reality. Booking the convention center is hard enough as it is on short notice, and finding a hotel which technically not in tourist season yet, or right at the border of it, so it was tough to even get any place to get a block of. So the fact that we got a block of rooms, good on our hosts. They
absolutely. I'm not downplaying that whatsoever. I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth here, but the point is, the Rosen Center, everyone was complaining about the walk. I probably, and it's because I'm old, but I probably had, I had to take a week to recover from that walk. And I'm telling you, I got legs of steel after that. And a lot of people, especially like the Krampus costumes and a lot of these costumes that had stilts, or like myself that had cloven hooves, you know, that was pretty rough. And I think that could have been solved if there were more pedicabs. I think this is the only time that I've ever been to the convention center that I didn't see a lot of pedicabs outside.
Well, here's the thing with the pedicabs. I think that they usually have, and I don't know, but I think that those guys kind of know beforehand when certain conventions are going to be in town, and they show up for that.
Okay.
With this
They're
being
not
scheduled the
so-
way it was,
They're
they
not like a
probably weren't
typical
aware.
company or anything in that. Are they? They're all just kind of independent guys who just
I
happen
think
to
they're
have.
independent contractors, yes.
Yeah, they might be. I think I don't know if they work for an actual company or, but I know like
No,
when
I
we were
think
there,
they're independent contractors. I think
I know when-
John actually, yeah, John knows the history, and he's not on this webcast, but
Okay.
John actually knows the history of the guys with the pedicabs. And technically, they're independent contractors, so you don't have to pay them, but they give you a suggested price, da 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 da,
Right.
so on and so
Yeah, they
forth.
work
So
off
that's
of
how.
tips because I know Sheila and I were going to use them one year, and
Oh, I
at that
always
time
use.
we'd already got to where we were going, and the
Yeah.
guy was saying, well, yeah, let me know when you're going to
Exactly.
be.
That's why they always try to get you to go with them.
Yeah, let me know when you're going to be leaving, and I'll give you my number and blah blah blah, and you call me and I'll come get you. So yeah, they're worth it. They're great. I mean, it's only a couple of bucks, you know.
Yeah,
But
exactly. You give them $5 and they're your friend for life.
Yeah, to get from A to B, and they're going to specifically look for you and take care of you and ride you. But
And frankly, it's fun going down International Drive that way because I did it Friday night.
like I
You
said,
know, I wasn't in
for-
high heels or anything. I was just tired.
I'd have to
But I
look.
got in the pedicab. And
Like I said, I'd have to look back if I still have it. But if I'm not mistaken, where the convention was inside the convention center itself, I don't believe it was there originally. I believe it was actually closer to the hotel, because that was one of the things I looked at before, was that you could take the Sky Bridge from the hotel directly into the convention center. It was like,
yeah, that's from the
right
Hyatt.
there.
It's directly across the street right there.
well, no,
It was
even,
always going to
even
be
at
Halsey's
the
Neck.
even at the Rosen, it actually had it, because that was one of the things that Sheila and I were looking at, was we could just take the Sky Bridge, be right there, and it be the convention right there. But when it canceled, okay, all that, rigmarole. But then when they rescheduled, I noticed it was further away than it was originally. So
Rob, you got a
I,
look on your face.
I don't know if that's
I thought it was always held where it is, but I don't know for sure.
I think so too. I think it was always E and F, and I think they wanted the Sky Bridge of the Hyatt because the Hyatt was going to be the original home in October. But that was my.
I'd like I said, I'd have to look at it, but I'm almost positive if it wasn't
Okay.
closer to where the Rosen is, it was definitely closer to where the Hyatt is. So, hey, look, you've been wrong before too. And if I am wrong, if I'm
No
wrong,
habla
I'm wrong.
inglés, ¿qué? ¿Qué? No
But-
entiendo. ¿Ah?
But like I said, I'd have to look at it again because I'm almost positive it was closer than it was. Because even the original billboards that the convention center had up had it listed differently, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to double check to be sure.
Okay. Well, wherever they were booked in October, it doesn't matter now because, this what we got is what we got. And like I said, it was great they pulled it together the way they did. But the walk was the biggest issue. And especially with the after parties, that walk with the after parties, not being sure if it was in the convention center or if it was in the hotel. And the Rosen Center had all their policies with the mask. And everyone was asking where everything was. No one knew where anything was. It was all kind of spread out. I mean, a number of us ended up, like I said, second floor patio, and that's where parties and stuff. So I think that was an issue for a lot of people. There was a miscommunication on where exactly the party
Only
was.
a few rooms down from where I was.
What?
No, from where my room was in the Rosen, God, there was a room that completely reeked of pot. I mean, it just
Well, that's every spooky.
they trust me, their room was just it was like a clown car at one point.
Oh,
I don't know how long it was lasting, but I just watched a whole bunch of people go out, and then a whole bunch more people go out, and after a while, I was like, is there a wormhole in there? They can't fit that many people in a room.
Yeah. So there probably were a lot of room parties. I mean, when we were, and you know, Mike can vouch for this, when we were down on the second floor patio, we were looking up at the rooms and we saw some interesting stuff looking up at some of the rooms. The dancing cow skull was the highlight of mine. That was something else. The glowing eyes, the big cow skull. Only at Spooky do you see dancing silhouettes of cow skulls with big eyes, and that was
Yeah,
interesting.
no, we stayed on the second floor actually. So for us, it
Oh,
was just a walk down the hallway to the second floor balcony. So we lucked out on
which
that.
that worked out very. We were on the third floor, so that worked out very, very nicely.
Yeah, so we didn't have to
Yeah.
go far. And if it was, we were going to be consuming mass quantities of alcoholic beverages, as the coneheads say it, just walk to the
Mm-hmm.
room. But for those that didn't stay there, yeah, I could see where it was. Uh,
Yeah, and that's like I said, I think again, I think that's where the pedicabs, and I'm sure it was a big misunderstanding, but if going forward in the future, if this situation comes up again, which I don't think it will for a few years, if we go back to the convention center, which we will get to, I think pedicabs are an absolute requirement because my feet are still yelling at me. So, okay. And since we were going to have Robbie here tonight, but unfortunately, you know, she's got family in town. It's the holidays. You know how this goes. I mean, everyone's out tonight, like seeing Rogue One or at the base show, and everybody's busy. So, I mean,
yeah,
I'm surprised we got 7 viewers. So hi,
I
7 viewers.
wanted to go see Rogue
But,
One, but
aw, you forewent Rogue One this spend it with us. How sweet. See, this is why we love Daddy Mike. Okay, but I wanted to talk about the vendor room itself. The vendor room, okay, now obviously it was one of the biggest vendor rooms Spooky has ever had, even when it was crowded. And Spooky did get a sizable crowd. Saturday, I saw the line, especially the will call, line through the door many, many times. There were a lot of people, but because it's a convention center, it was big, it was spread out, nobody was bumping into each other, so that was good.
even with the larger costumes.
Friday, yes, yes, absolutely. Friday, um, it was a little hot in there, but Saturday they fixed the problem and they brought the temperature down, so that was nice, especially for those of us that were in heavy costumes. Um, heard about the vendor room was, and this was a complaint from the photographers more than anyone else, was the purple lighting. There was overhead purple lighting, and apparently, I guess for the photographers, that kind of messed with the settings on their cameras or something. Um, Interesting note. And now everybody thought the ambiance was fantastic. You know, a lot of non-photography type people appreciated the purple lighting. I did find out though that there was a reason for the purple lighting. Very interesting, and very few people know this. If you noticed, there was the purple lighting, the overhead purple lighting. The volunteer shirts were purple. And if you looked at the backdrops for the vendors and for the celebrities, it was all purple. So purple was an ongoing theme. Now, when I was told this, I'll be perfectly honest, I laughed. And I probably shouldn't have, but it didn't make sense to me at first. The reason for all the purple was Prince. It was in honor of Prince.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when I was first told, I laughed because I didn't think I thought it was a joke, but he was serious. But the thing is, Petey was a huge fan of Prince.
Mm.
I mean, if you were on Facebook, you've seen the picture of him dressing as Prince, and I may have to post it on. Well, we'll get to that shortly because we have a bit of a special announcement to make. But yeah, apparently it was all in honor of Prince. You know, and that was kind of confirmed for me Saturday night. After the VIP party closed, they opened up the VIP room to everybody. So a lot of people came in. PD was DJing, and there was a lot of hardcore music and a lot of moshing, and you know, and the whole 9 yards. And when the Rosen came in to shut everything down, I think it was at 2. PD treated us to a rendition. He got up on the table and sang "Darling Nikki," which is something, you know. There may or may not be video proof. I don't know. I don't know. But I plead the fifth on that. But yeah, he got up and he did a pretty decent job. And yeah, so I mean, Petey was a big fan of Prince, so I guess that was his homage, his little secret homage to Prince. So all the purple. So, little. What?
Do you know who else really loved the color purple?
Oh,
Abe
God.
Vigoda. Abe
Who we
Vigoda
also
loved it.
lost.
That was a tribute to Abe as well. Could have been.
Oh, that was a tribute to Abe Vigoda, is what you're saying.
You know what? I'm not saying it was only a tribute to Abe. I'm saying it was also a tribute to Abe.
But I did think that was an interesting little fact. But the vendor's room, one of the great things about Spooky, and you won't find this at any other convention, is that you've got a ton of local artists and local craftsmen. I mean, not even just Coffee Shop at Horrors, which, I mean, you get free coffee the entire convention.
But
What?
you should tip. You should always drop off $1.
Oh, always. You should always tip. Always. If you're not, you're a douche, and don't go Spooky because I hate you. Okay. But they have a lot of very varied artists. Like I said, the craftsmen and the special effects guys, and just some of the great things that our local community has to offer. It's not just your usual just T-shirts and just stuff that you can find on Amazon and the same generic stuff that you see at every con. You do see original one of a kind stuff here, and Spooky does their best to have a variety of different stuff that you really can't find anywhere else. So, okay, I was about to ask Mike, but I guess not. Rob, do you have any thoughts on the vendor's room?
You know what? I will just say it was really great that the aisles were so freaking wide this year. I mean, look, in past years, the way it always works is you're walking down an aisle and you get to the point where, all right, there's one person on the left and they're wearing a huge costume, and then on the other side, there's two people who are looking at something else. One has a huge ass, and then there's a photographer who's on that side as well, trying to take a picture of the costumer on the other side, and you just can't get through. There's too many people, so all you can do is just stand there and you either hope the picture gets taken or the person with the big ass moves on. It's great. Big asses were not a problem this year. It was wide aisles. It was fun. It was great. I didn't get held up maybe like one time if there was giant groups of people, but no, it was cool to be able to just walk through the aisles, look at the different vendors, and if you want to stop, you also know that you don't feel pressured to just look and then move on quickly to worrying about keeping someone else from being able to pass walkways, and that was really, really appreciated. That was a nice benefit of the convention center.
Yeah. All right, Mike, what were your thoughts on the vendor's room?
I actually like.
Or were there any particular vendors that you liked, or?
No, see, I actually love the vendors room. We actually picked up a couple of things out of there, and one of them, what the hell's on my camera? One of them was a print of. Actually, I'll show you. It's easier to show you than to tell you.
Okay.
Yo. I got a puzzle box. Puzzle box.
This is the print, and you might get reflection on it, but
oh, that's awesome.
I mean, if you look at it, you've got everybody playing cards, but the part that got me was here. So you actually have all of the big icons playing cards. Chucky, Jason, Ghostface from Scream, Leatherface, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Pinhead, they're all there playing cards. And who comes knocking on the door but a couple of unsuspecting college kids knocking on the door selling stuff to those that kill unsuspecting college kids. So we thought that was the best and we bought it. And it was well worth it. This is one that I've never seen anywhere. And it's those kind of things that you find, is those one of a kind. We've all been to MegaCon. We've seen the dealer's room at MegaCon. We've seen the stuff that they have. You're not going to find that at MegaCon. Not happening. So we found it, and
exactly.
We were like, oh yeah, we got to get it. We got to get it. And for Sheila, and she I think she enjoyed it just as much as I did, because she was there and she was, looking around and she was interested in a lot of the stuff as well, which tickles me pink because she's having fun too. And she was the one who was like, let's get
Always
it.
good to
Let's
bring
get it.
into the spooky cult family.
Yeah. And she was more along the lines of, should we get it? Let's get it. And that was, my
Don't
whole
open the puzzle box.
open it. No, that was my whole.
No,
that was my whole
don't
big
open
thing.
the puzzle.
So I was happy with that. All right, let me see.
Okay, but absolutely appreciated the vendors. And speaking of the vendors, one of the other things I did want to bring up, and I know Rob had an issue with this at the con.
Okay, let's just be perfectly honest. We were at the convention center, and if you open up the Zagat's Guide for recommended places to eat in Orlando, nowhere does it say that the best Chinese food, the best Italian, nothing. You're not going to get the best of anything in the convention center. It was all bad. I don't know anyone who walked away feeling really good after they ate there.
$9
You know
hot
what?
dog. What was that all about?
It was extremely expensive. All the food was literally about twice as much as you would get at, say, a mall food court. I ended up buying a crepe because someone else recommended, like, okay, they said, okay, the crepe guy over there, that's okay. So I said, fine, I'll try it. The crepe itself was fine, but it felt like they just put liquid salt water in it.
Ooh.
Oh, dear
I
God.
had lots of salty than this. It was like a chicken Florentine crepe, and it was just. I felt really bad later. Not as bad as the friends of mine who had the hot dogs or the pizza,
Yeah.
but I still felt bad. So, and on top of that, between the drink and the crepe, I think I dropped about $14. So I was just like, so yeah, I mean,
the Rosen did have some choices, but the truth is, Spooky's crowd is kind of a Happy Meal kind of crowd. You did have the option, Denny's and what's over by Denny's? There's McDonald's.
Yeah, there's a McDonald's. There's a
There-
Denny's. There's an
in-
IHOP that was attached to one of the
It's
hotels.
still not like really close unless you're at the Rosen.
But that's just it. If you're at the convention center, there really aren't a lot of places to easily walk to.
That's exactly what I wanted you to talk about, since you saw all that in the beverage cart. And
Yeah.
ugh.
So, lesson learned, either pack a little something or just accept the fact that if you're at the convention center, you're going to be tired, you're going to have to walk to someplace else. Whether it's because you want to save money or because you want to get better food, you're not going to get anything that's going to, if you're on a budget or if you just have a slightly more refined palate, you're going to have to go somewhere else. So, note to self, don't plan on eating at the convention center.
Yeah, that's and that's definitely a lesson learned, and it's also a reminder of one of the good tips that we've given in a previous podcast. Always pack snacks, whether it's a Luna bar or granola or just something to keep your energy up. It's always good to have a couple of those on hand, because places like the convention center, and I know us spooky people, we're used to hotels, so it's a little different. So this was a new experience for us. But anytime a convention is in a convention center, always bring snacks. Just something to keep your energy up, because 9 times out of 10, the food is not that good and it's insanely overpriced. Lesson definitely learned.
I think I have indigestion, to be perfectly honest. Yes.
And always in your con packing guide, which is in the playlist, always pack like Alka-Seltzer and ginger tea and anything else that can help upset stomachs, because you're probably, if you're going to eat at a convention center, you're going to need it. Pepto-Bismol, whatever helps you. Will you stop playing with that box?
No!
No, let him play. Let him play. I actually wanted one of those.
I know, such. Christ, I can't talk. I need more Virgin's blood.
You
My
know
God.
what? This is the puzzle
I
box I
actually
got.
wanted one of those, and I was kind of hoping that Sheila would buy one because she knows I love puzzles. And just to have a Rubik's Cube puzzle box, hoping that Pinhead would come out would be just.
Yeah, you want? No, you're a masochist, right?
Hey, she's got those little wooden puzzle things for me, and her mom had one in the house, and she had it there for God knows how long, didn't do it. I sat down like 5 minutes later, done. So we saw the Rubik's Cube, and I was just like, oh, I want it. I want it. Because she knows that would keep me occupied for a while, just because it's
Daddy Mike there.
how many places can you go and say, I want a Hellraiser puzzle box, and nobody look at you strange? It's
Yeah.
and other people
That's
go,
spooky, all
really?
right.
They have them? I want one too. So
And that actually, Rob, hold that up. We'll put the link on the page. That's House HAUS of Fang
yeah,
Cosplay.
yep.
They sell them.
I have their business card just for that purpose.
Yep. Okay. So, and we'll be talking about the vendors. That's a whole nother. But I wanted to get into, and unfortunately, Mo has not made it. We miss Mo.
Oh,
So I don't know where Mo went, but he's stuck in traffic because 'tis the season. He was going to talk about the Brood Squad. We can, and Mike can talk about this too, because Daddy Mike is a big part of the Brood Squad. Their presence, because I think
here's
there's
the thing.
like,
It's one of those things that, and other than, and I'm not going to get into that because that's Mo's issue. Um, it's one of those that a lot of people looked at it as, well, is it a security thing? No, it's not. And I explained it to Sheila. For those that don't know, Sheila's my wife, by the way. So if you see us together, you see her, say hi. Um, it's one of those things where if you're there, male, female, or otherwise, um, those that have the Brood Squad thing on, you can come up to us. We're friendly. If you feel like you need to, hey, pretend to be, if I'm your big brother, if you think that, someone's creeping around you, you come hang out with me and my wife. It's more than happy to talk to you, hang out with you. And, hey, can you guys walk me back to my room? Look, no big deal. Um, there are those guys that will walk you back to your room. There's guys like me and my wife, or if you want to come hang out with us because you feel like you got a creeper walking around, or even if you think somebody is just being a general jerk, hey, that's my friend over there. Leave me alone. That kind of deal. But
yeah.
it's not a whole, which I think some people are thinking, oh, you're a security thing. No, it's
No,
not.
no, no, no. It's not a security thing. It's not an alpha male thing.
Right.
There are a couple incidents I did want to mention because we have a whole influx of what we call mundanes or the mainstream into spooky. And as spooky becomes more mainstream, a lot more of these drunk dude bros come in and don't really understand cosplay is not consent. They don't really
Or
understand
the guys walking
convention
around
etiquette.
with their cameras taking pictures of girls' asses.
Exactly, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And of course, we always recommend going to security, but sometimes you don't want to make a scene. Sometimes you don't want to disturb the general vibe. And let me give you a perfect example. There's a time, and I'm going to be very vague about details, but I was in, and a very big person who is a friend of mine and someone I like very much drank and was getting a little too, he didn't realize his own strength. I quietly excused myself. And like I said, I didn't look around for security. I knew where members of the Brute Squad were, patio. His friend followed me, whatever. And like I said, he was drunk. And I immediately went up to that general vicinity. And just by the eye contact with one of the members of the Brute Squad, they immediately knew what was going on. There was no issue. Everything was diffused before everything started. Very safe. A lot of the other women at Spooky, they all knew that once they saw the armband. And Mike, where's your armband?
It's in the bedroom. I'll go grab it. Hold on.
Just so you can see. But there was also another incident, and here's the thing: you don't hear a lot about the incidents because one of the members of the Brute Squad was telling me that there was someone that he was escorting to his car. He was incredibly drunk, and they got belligerent. They got a little too want to play rough Now, when you go to Spooky and you see that, wait, let me click over here. All right, Mike, show it again.
Yep, that's.
There you go. You see that? I'll hook you up. Like I said, there's about half a dozen of them running around Spooky. They're not there to be alpha males, but there was a person at Spooky that Brute Squad literally, unfortunately, had to wrestle to the ground because he was had a little bit too much and he wanted to play wrestle, and so unfortunately measures had to be taken. You know, a lot of people didn't hear about it. It was all very hush hush, very quiet. We're not mentioning names or anything, but it's no, the Brute Squad did their job. I mean, they had their fun. They kept their eye out to, you know, diffuse any situation. And I'm sure there's a lot of women out there that were very, very grateful for the presence there. And hashtag Daddy Mike.
One thing,
So,
I am not going to live that down.
Just, you know, if anyone's watching and is kind of curious, like, well, who are they? These are guys that have been to Spooky for many, many years. You know, it's not like anyone could just join this, like, hey, I'm a big guy, let me do this. These are all men and women, I think, maybe, but people.
They're all men, yes.
Who have just been around the convention for several years, have good reputations. They've earned their reputation too, and so it's not it's just
guys that can.
Yeah,
they're very much trusted. That's something else. Which, you know what, I might as well make the finally, and I know we should have done this beforehand, but we started a Facebook page over here. But if you just look facebook.com/ultimate spooky guide, we'll be listing upcoming webcasts. We will link to past webcasts. When there's announcements of guests, we'll start discussions on the guests and try to find out prices and, you know, and all that stuff. Now, granted, this is not a substitution for the official Spooky page. Official answers always come from Spooky and from Spooky staff. But this is stuff where we'll go over past webcasts, where we go over hygiene tips, where we go over budgeting tips, you know, tips about the Wyndham, you know, stuff like that. Every week we will feature one of the longtime Spooky vendors, because we really want to support our local community. There are fan events that go on in between, like Morbid Movies, for example. They have all these great screenings that they do in South Florida, about the Horror with a Heart photo shoot that we did for the Pulse victims. We had a really good turnout. We had a couple dozen people, and we got some beautiful, beautiful photos. I was asked by someone very special. There is, and we have it linked on the page. So, you know, it's was it Light the Tree for the 49? It's going to be this Saturday at 6 o'clock in downtown Orlando. They have beautiful trees that they have decorated with angels and ornaments and everything for the victims and their families. A bunch of people are going to get together for that. So, like I said, you know, go to the Facebook page. It's facebook.com/ we're all on there. You can ask us questions. So this is where all the content will be in between webcasts, because we're probably not going to do another one until March. So that's the big announcement. So we can finally, you know, start here, and we will do the best we can to help the burden of. I mean, Petey and Gina, they need to rest right now. They all did a fantastic job. They deserve a great Christmas.
Yep.
Out as much as we can as fans to lighten that burden. You know, and that's what all this is all about, and help educating newer fans to, you know, to know what's going on and to know how this all works. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Really, let's see, we talked about the Brute Squad, so there really were no security issues.
Costume
While I'm
contest?
looking at my notes here, Rob, I think there was something else you wanted to mention.
I've completely forgotten it.
All to you.
Well, you know what? The costume contest, we can always talk about that.
That's a good one. Party issue that we talked about earlier. No one knowing where anything was.
Well, here's it with the parties. And there were a few people while I was at the pool area, and Sheila and I walked the pool area also, and it was, well, is the party going to be here? Is it going to be there? Is it going to be the pool going to be cut off? And when we were walking through the hotel, there was a sign saying that the VIP thing party was going to be in one ballroom. Uh, and like I
Exactly.
said, this is not a knock on Spooky because they honestly, I don't think
I didn't know.
they had
Yeah.
control to a degree, but I think the way the hotel booked things, they had to work within what the hotel was doing. Um, as far
You
as
know,
where the
another,
parties were, was it the usual party that we're used to? No. But like you said, there were those that had been going for years who knew, hey, the second floor balcony. And the hotel even told us specifically when we checked in that the second floor balcony was going to be the area where if you smoked cigarettes or whatever, that was going to be your area,
Okay.
and that that's probably where a lot of fun stuff was going to happen because the hotel does shut down the actual pool at a certain time, but they don't shut down the pool deck, which I think a lot of people misunderstood.
yeah.
They
You know,
thought that,
one important thing to remember whenever we go to a new hotel for this convention, you know, we've bounced around a couple hotels over the past 14 years, however long it's been. The first night of any convention, no one knows where to go anyway. Most of the after parties do happen kind of organically, and it does take a night, or it usually takes that second night to make it happen. I think the weather was also not really. I mean, it was for a lot of Florida natives. That was a cold weekend, and so I think a lot of people didn't want to be outside. So you know, something else to consider.
Well, I mean, specifically, and this is something I heard Rob bring up during the weekend, was party Saturday night at the convention center, where it was pretty much just, and I heard a staff member say that there was just the stage, two tables, and a beverage cart over at the Rosen anyway.
so wait,
But
is the party at the convention center, is that where that stage,
see,
is
that's the
that
whole
where
thing.
they
Nobody
have
knows
that?
where the party actually was.
Well, it's Friday. I think you're thinking of now.
No, because it was Saturday night because I was in Baphomet and we were over at the convention center and there was supposed to be the dealer's room closed. There was supposed to be a party in the lobby.
Okay.
This was like after the bands and everything, and there was supposed to be a DJ, and there was one beverage cart frozen anyway, but there was supposed to be a party in the lobby,
Of the convention center.
and that's what I meant.
Okay.
In the convention center, and nobody.
Okay.
Just the beverage cart
Again,
and the DJ, and a couple people sitting at tables, and it was just like, And at one
again,
point,
and again, I think that's not so much attributed to.
no, and I'm not saying it's attributed. It was
Well,
again
see,
miscommunication.
here's the thing. There's going to be people who think, oh, well, if this is what a spooky party is like, well, that's not it.
No, no, no,
I think what
no.
I think what some people are thinking and going to attribute is that, well, this isn't really a party. I'm gonna go to the hotel and have fun. So in years past, the party has always been at the hotel. It's always been out by the pool. Uh,
Yes,
the DJ's always been out
and
there.
that's why everyone was confused this time around.
Right, and I think yeah, because when we got there, it was like, okay, it wasn't at the pool like it usually is, which that didn't
Yeah,
bother me one
and
way
that's
or
what
the
threw
other.
everybody off. And it
Yeah,
wasn't listed in the program, so we weren't really sure.
right. It didn't
But
bother me
I
one way or
did
the
want
other.
to,
I was there to hang out and have fun with people that I know, and you
yeah, and
and
I want to
a few
bring
other people.
attention to a comment that we just got on YouTube here. And I'm sorry I didn't chime in earlier, guys. I was trying to juggle everything here. Yes, but Mike says we found the second floor patio on Thursday night and just thought that was a great spot. Great
Right.
bathrooms, great smoking spot, and the staff were really nice about us being there. And that's true. And Friday night when we were trying to find what to do, I was with Perry and Mike, a couple of and Jackie and Sabrina, longtime spooky con-goers. Bathrooms. It was absolutely perfect, right by the elevators, and that's where the cool people and all ended up. It was a second floor patio. That's where we had some of the greatest moments.
Right.
And
So
no,
Mike and Perry and Jackie and Sabrina, thank you for that.
I'd like to just say congratulations to everyone who fought the temptation to throw anything off of the balcony since we were on one. We
Ooh, great
had bad
point.
behavior on the balcony, and the temptation was there for a lot of people, I'm sure.
Can you imagine if they were?
Great point.
You know what? That would have been a great spot to do water balloons from.
Oh God, yes.
Hindsight is 2020, huh?
Yeah,
The bathrooms were so nice, no one felt the need to go over the rail.
or down the stairs for that matter.
I could have in those Cloven Hooves too.
But,
The VIP party.
but no, what ended up the second floor, the patio area on the second floor ended up being the party spot.
It did, but I'm wondering if you went to the official VIP party.
I went to the official VIP party. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's that. Well, I'm curious. Since you're the one that went, what were your thoughts on the official VIP party? I
It
mean,
was
fill us in on what happened.
it was it wasn't bad. Uh, what the hell is that? All of a sudden, I'm thinking snorks. Um,
Really the same.
it wasn't bad, and we got to sit talk with a few people. Got to talk with Kane Hodder. Got to meet him, shake his hand, and that's why. Look, in the movies, I know he's large and huge. Nothing. Hey, big fan of the man, but took a picture with him, and like I said, I could take Jason. If you put me and Jason in the movie, it's on. It's on. But no, he's a nice guy.
And I'm sorry, Mike. I love you, but
Hey, look, I'm not kidding, but
he's a big ass guy.
I'm gonna have to find the picture because Sheila took the picture of us, and I kid you not, I don't realize that I'm as big as I am until I see myself in pictures
Yeah,
because I don't think I'm that big.
Mike.
But seeing me next to Kane Hodder, I was like, "Ooh, I could be Jason. Hell yeah, I could be Kane. I could be him." But then I'm like, look, he'd probably Tanner just posted Mike called out Kane Hodder. No, I'm saying I could be Jason. I don't think I could be Kane.
Kane will knock your ass out. It
Yeah,
will be like that
look,
scene in
his hands
Friday
are. We both have
when
close to the same size
Debo.
hands, and I realize how big my hands are. I don't want that hand around my neck. That's not.
It would
Um,
be just
You
like
know,
Friday, where he come up and you
I
got
think
knocked the fuck out.
I'm not saying anything either, but I'm pretty sure I could probably take out any of the kids from Stranger Things. Not all together. One on one, I can take any of them.
I don't know, man. Gatton, he
But-
seems like a scrapper.
Just the reach.
people think
You
that
can
shit's
count
really
'em.
important. The VIP party, it wasn't as packed. Uh, got to
People didn't know
see
where it was.
got to see some of the folks come in. Of course, the Stranger Things kids couldn't come in because they were underage, uh, of course. But
Interesting. Okay.
the folks that I did get to see, I actually got to see and take pictures with, which was great. Uh, the prizes they gave out at the VIP party,
Great prizes.
they did 2 tickets, 2 VIP passes for April's show, a couple of guitars.
Yep.
I wanted the booze baskets, which there were a couple of those. They had a custom pair of shoes that were done specifically for the convention that had spooky all over them. And a few other things. Oh, a lot of signed memorabilia, posters and whatnot of the folks that are in attendance, plus from the last show. So that was good. Didn't win anything.
Okay.
But it was good to actually be and get to talk with a few people. Plus, open bar doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Open bar does not hurt.
Now, getting a drink free for 2 hours, that's always a big plus for the VIP party.
Look, all I know is Sheila went to go get a drink, and she brought me back 2. And I guess the bartender looked over. I don't know how she brought me back 2. I just say, hey, could you get me 1? She comes back and there's 2. She brings back 3 drinks, 2 for me, 1 for her, and I'm like, okay. Not turning down 2 drinks, but you know, but I think it was more just the atmosphere of being there and knowing that you could actually walk up and talk to them and take pictures with them and and here's the thing that I didn't see, which was cool. I didn't see a lot of fanboying going on. Um, it was more of,
But
hey, talking and do you mind if? And then, oh, sure, here, take a picture. But it wasn't the whole, oh my God, he's here. I got to go get a picture with him, and people just running up and mobbing. It wasn't that. So that was actually pretty
okay.
cool.
No, I do have to give a shout out because I just saw the YouTube chat and it was a very impressive moment. And I heard this a number of times all weekend. King of Slayer. He was hanging out with everybody. Not only was he doing shots with the fans, and one particular fan, Perry, apparently went completely fanboy, and that's right, I said it. Hager specifically for him, chilled it in his room for him, brought down the shot for Kerry so he could say he did a shot with Kerry King.
Oh yeah, no, he was
so
he was definitely down at the hotel bar, just
partier, man. Kerry was
he
hanging
was
out
down
with
at the
everybody.
hotel bar, just hanging out with folks, and
Bar.
and it was just like, dude, Kerry King's down there, and people were just like, yeah, they were out there having fun with him, but they
Nobody
weren't
was
doing the
mobbing anybody,
typical,
which was very good to see. Yeah.
they weren't doing the typical mob 'em thing. They were just all hanging out, which is cool, which is great. So,
One for a lot of people.
So,
Yeah.
Mike just posted he almost came up to our room Friday. Dude, that probably would have.
What they would have done with Kerry in his room. They probably would have tried to take some of his DNA or something, man. I don't know. Take a little bit of his beard and braid it and put it on a necklace or something. I'm a little scared of what they would have done.
See, Mike just posted he was talking with Kerry at the bar at 1 a.m., talking to her for about an hour.
Yep.
This
is why we love Spooky.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't do that at most other cons.
Dragon Con, you can't do that at Walker Stalker. That doesn't work that way. So that's why. Yeah, that's really cool.
Here's the, and I'll say.
But that's one of the.
I'll say this to the day I die. Everybody is all in love with Norman Reedus right now, and he's the it thing. He's
I love Norman. Norman is great,
but for those of us that were there when he was there originally, before Walking Dead even took off,
Walking Dead.
He was there hanging out, and I talked with him
for. Thank you very much.
A good couple of hours, and it was just. He talked about his mom and, what his mom does. I'm like, you can't get that at most other places, So if you get the opportunity to just hang out with these guys, just hang out with them. And they'll talk to you about all kinds of things. And it won't be the typical, oh my God, you were this person and can I get your autograph?
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to tell me, about his mom, what his mom does, which I think is actually cool.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of deal.
I definitely wanted to touch on. We'll click over. Okay.
Talk about.
But one of the things, especially at the parties, were a bunch of first-time goers at Spooky, and on the Facebook page between October and December, but just flame wars and trolling and bitching, and it was just a muddle of hatred and just barrage of.
Who was involved in that?
I am gay. No hablo.
I purposely stayed away from that. I really did.
No, I got involved. I take full credit for anything that I said, any trolling I did. I take full responsibility. I don't have a problem with it.
Here's why I stayed away
panties
from it.
On.
Not because
you all heard about how he sucked dick to get him Spooky and stuff.
It's not that I didn't have anything to say about it. It's one of those things that no matter what you say, someone's going to be pissed off. So why even bother?
I don't care about pissing people off. I am a loyal Spooky fan. I will always stand up for them.
Yeah, but
And three
it's
o'clock
one
in
of
the
those things
morning,
where you're beating a dead horse, and I'm just like, I got too much. I got better things to do than to
you know what?
try
3 o'clock in the morning, I'm bored. I can't sleep. Yeah, I get on the internet and do the stupid little shit. I'm the first person to admit it. And I know there's a lot of people out there, they're very anti-Demi and they hate me, and that's fine. I don't care. But the point I was making was all these first-time spooky people that came to Spooky exactly what we were talking about. I will link the video up here again that's been going around the internet about why Spooky is family, and thank you, Full Sail, for doing that. But the first time you go, and I saw this Friday and Saturday night, there were a number of times I was just sitting there looking around and how everybody was getting along and was like instant family. People that had never been there before, horror fans, were very accommodating. They were very welcoming. And I'm sure a number of us have met someone there that was there for the first time, and we were just happy, love of the fandom.
hmm
You know, it wasn't, it's not a regular convention where it's like we just go to be seen or to meet a popular person, and it has got nothing to do with that. And that's the power of Spooky. Really does say everything. And like I said, there were a number of moments Friday and Saturday night. I looked around and I saw these incredibly, while hardcore, incredibly hardcore, but these are incredibly welcoming people. We know what it's like to be an outcast. We know what it's like to be a freak. And when we can let that freak flag fly, all that, you know, exclusive of everybody else. I saw, you know, very, very friendly people getting along with other people, no fights, beautiful. And this is why we call Spooky home. And I just wanted to give a shout out to all you Spooky vets that were incredibly welcoming to all these new people. And this is why Spooky family keeps growing. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with me on that, but I saw it a number of times throughout the weekend. It just made me really proud to be Spooky for life.
Because it was there's there's people you see,
Mike's getting real
you know,
quiet now.
once or twice a year, and I told Sheila, I said, you know, if I could do one convention a year, it would be Spooky.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, that's it.
that's
When I stop going to the rest of them, Spooky will be it. Absolutely. Um, But I did want to talk about the guest and guest experiences that we had. We talked about Kane Hodder. We talked about Weird Al Yankovic. The Stranger Things kids were hysterical. You saw some of the videos that Suki posted of, I think it was Finn Wolfhard, who was like sitting there playing bass, you know? Millie taking, you know, she had the baby 11 on stage taking duck face selfies. They were great. I don't think I heard one negative story. Well, that's not true. About one celebrity. I've got a personal beef with another one, but it's not because of him. And that's right, Butch, I'm calling you out by name. Butch and I have actually done a couple of shows together. He had his Dracula and he had his Monsters Museum, which was great and was absolutely beautiful. Friday, I was dressed, as you know, as Tura Satana, Varla from Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. And if you know, that movie is a car movie. She's driving around the entire movie. Me behind the wheel of Dracula. Said no, wouldn't let me do it. Okay, let it go. Pictures of 3 people from that weekend behind the wheel of Dracula, and for some reason, yours truly wasn't allowed behind the wheel. They were racist or nothing, but I don't know if it's racist or sexist, or maybe he just thinks I'm an asshole. I don't know, but I didn't get behind the wheel of Dracula, so I think I got robbed. It's my own personal thing, but I just had to say it. But Carrie King, we talked about Carrie King. I heard wonderful stories about Bobby Steele from the Misfits
hmm
giving $5 autographs. What? Um, you know, you guys hear any other stories about any other guests? What about you, Rob? Did you hear about anybody?
You know, I think Carrie King was the one I'm hearing all the good stories about, and everyone said the Stranger Thing kids were delightful. Oh, let's see, William, what's his name?
Forsyth.
Yeah,
Is
Bill
that
Forsythe. You know, I've heard a couple other. Bill's a spooky vet. He's been around 3 or 4 times now, and once again, I think he was. People enjoyed seeing him. So, I mean, like I said, we had a lot of our regulars who came back were always very cool. Bill, God, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name now. Uh, Otis, from Thousand
Oh,
Corpses.
Bill.
Bill, yeah, exactly. Bill's always awesome, and this year was no exception. People really enjoyed that photo shoot, the special one he did. Will you stop drinking that damn thing? It's making the worst noise in the world.
Blood is gone, then the screaming will stop.
Take the damn lid off and sip like a lady. Mama.
Mama's dead. That's not nice.
Okay. Anyway, I don't think I really heard any too negative things. Like I said, I think there's maybe one mystery person out there, but I'm not naming names. But no, like everyone, all the celebs are really cool. And like I said, I didn't have too many interactions. I did with Weird Al, and as I said, Weird Al, he was very friendly. Yeah, I could tell he was a little bit.
He told me his soul.
But Unusual Alfred, as his close personal friends call him. He was, very accommodating, very friendly. Took just that extra second to say something kind to my son. To me, he was great. Loved, really, really, really nice to see him. So
That's one thing I can definitely say about the guests. 9 times out of 10 that Petey and Gina bring in, you always have the one that is there for the cattle call, and it's like pick next, pick next, pick next, and it's obvious they don't want to be there, and it shows. But 99% of the guests that show up at Spooky, not your plastic corporate, just money grabbing type. These are the ones that love the fans, like I said, occasionally you get that one nice enough guy, but they had him all cornered off and he obviously didn't want to be there, and you get those every once in a while. But 99% of the time, everyone comes away with a story, and that's one of the things in the convention circuit that you really lose nowadays. If you go to MegaCon and you're meeting John Cusack, the John Cusack story, you're coming away with a John Cusack picture and a signature that you paid for. You're not coming away with an experience. And that usually doesn't happen at Spooky.
No, and you know what?
You meet
the other cool thing about that, typically those guests, they don't return. People are great about bringing back the people who want to be.
Tom comes back to Spooky year after year because of the fans. Yeah. Fine. Bill's another one.
As far as guests go, there's one that I would really love for them to get, and if they ever do, this is one that I would definitely pay for, and it's Kevin Grievous. And if you know,
here we go again with the Kevin.
Hey, look, the man is probably he's probably the biggest nerd that you'll ever meet. And everyone's like, who the hell is Kevin Grievous? Well, if you like Underworld, you know who he is. If you like I, Frankenstein, you know who he is. He's done his own stuff. He's got his, people don't realize that he's the creative force behind some of those big blockbuster movies. But he doesn't step up and take the credit for it, at least not publicly. I mean, his name's in the credits saying that he's the one that did it, but he's not one of those, oh, I'm the guy that did this. He's on Facebook and he makes posts about finding an Ultraman toy and how excited he is to find Ultraman. Dude, you can't get no cooler than that. But that's just me.
He's up.
So, and I'm going to harp Kevin Grievous until he comes, period. That's
fair
me.
enough.
Because I want to meet the man and be like, dude, you have the same Ultraman, he's he loves Godzilla, he loves Ultraman, he's a big comic book fan, which is why he makes the movies that he makes. So for somebody like that, who's actually one of us, I would enjoy meeting that kind of person.
Okay. All right. Well, I think the one last thing that we want to talk about before we start wrapping it up is the costume contest. And I think Mike wasn't there and Rob and I both were.
Yeah, no, I didn't. That was Sunday.
You know what? And I found out something very interesting about the costume contest. Apparently, there was someone slotted to do the costume contest as a host, someone who was brought in and paid. This is not confirmed information. This is around the grapevine, so this is not official spooky anything. This is just conjecture. Someone that was brought in and paid and completely did not show up. This is a testament to Spooky staff and how professional they are. And I know Dina cracks that whip something fierce, and she should be proud of what she did. Costume contest, and you could not tell that that was thrown together last minute. Thrown together last minute, and it was done very professionally, very smoothly. JD helped out with a lot of the coordinating and a lot of the parameters on which they were going to be judging. Emily and Petey's father and JD and who was the other judge? It was another judge.
Another face-off person, I think.
Huh?
I think it was another face-off or
The problem,
one of the makeup show.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think Rob and Dina did great hosting. You missed it, man, and I wish they would just stream this online, because they do get better and better every year. I think there were about 24 contestants. And it was tough.
There were closer to 40. I mean, it was a big number. It wasn't. Typically they get about 60.
Oh, that's why there seemed like there was less. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and they also didn't do the kids as well this year. Usually they make
the kids. The kids were done on a different day.
Yeah, they didn't, which is what should. Let's face it, the kids can be very cute, and some of them have very impressive costumes. But at the end of the day, most of the kids who go in those or who compete for the kids contest are just wearing store-bought things, and most of the people in the crowd just don't want to see another kid in a Thor costume.
He said it.
That's right. I said, send your hate mail to Captain Vanilla.
I can give your email address. They probably wouldn't believe me if I told them what it was.
manpretty@gmail.com. Look at this.
But the judges did very, very well. The MCs did a great job of entertaining everybody. It was all put together very well. The costumes were fantastic. I thought it was going to be a real easy sweep, 1, 2, 3, obvious costumes. No, there were some really good.
Like I said, we left early Sunday because I wasn't feeling it with the way my sinuses were going, and so we didn't even stay. I wanted to stay and see a couple of things, but we just weren't feeling it at the time. So who actually won?
The winner, well, the top placers, there were 2 different Krampuses that you probably saw a couple times during the week or weekend.
Who was the one in the throne
Okay.
job, and I think it was I think morphstore.com helped with the creation of that costume.
Which one?
Yeah, I think he got best in show. Mom Cheryl got the 2 of them. I think they got best in show. Was that right?
No, I don't remember what the awards are, to be perfectly honest.
To my recollection, it was them, and then the other Krampus. His name's Shane. He's tall, and he was walking on these like.
Not that tall. He was actually normal height, but there was a very big.
In the costume.
No, in the costume. He wasn't on stilts. He was just, the legs were extra pieces.
They were like created.
I was still if you don't count the horns. If you didn't count his, but anyway, it was a fantastic costume. Just this big.
Yeah, and that was best craftsmanship.
Yeah, well, no, he won the whole thing. He was best.
Okay, so maybe I have it back.
I think you do.
Is he the one that had it looks like he had bent legs, but it wasn't. His actual legs were covered by the fur and the hair, and you couldn't tell. Those are his. Yeah, we saw him. Yeah, his is actually really good. We talked to him before the actual game. He said he did that in like a couple of weeks, which is insane.
Yeah.
Well,
if you look at
that 200 hours.
Yeah, I mean that costume for what it was, for the amount of time that he put, is insane. And
the best group was the family that did.
Yeah, apparently Shane, the Krampus that we're talking about, he got best in show.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the top prize.
Okay.
And then the other.
No, he's right. Okay.
So they got 1 guitar, and then the other guitar went to the best group, which was the family that did. And what's the name of the?
Yes, the Creep Show.
The Creep Show family.
Like, they were fantastic. Other notables were the woman who dressed as your favorite.
Maria.
Yes, Maria from
Wait.
Metropolis.
Hold
Jared's
on.
Krampus won Best Exhibition. That was good because
What-
he goes every year, him and his mother, and they end up doing some seriously
Yeah,
great work. Max.
no, and this was the best job they've done, so far. I think they topped themselves this year, so they just keep getting better.
To
I
give
will
you an
say
idea, yep, this is
Metropolis.
Metropolis fan. I've got I got another big figure over there. Plus, I've got the poster in my room. Fan. This was my secret holy grail costume for years and years and years. Rebecca Cox did an amazing, outstanding job. I got to see it up close. She did a hell of a job.
Yeah, I think any other
It was judge's
that would
choice.
have been, or not any other year, any other convention that's probably a best in show costume. I think the judges
Yes.
were in a really rough spot with that because she looked amazing. It's not exactly a horror costume though, and this is
I
a
think
horror.
that may have been the one thing that held her back. You're right.
They weren't even going to do an honorable mention costume, and I think they just gave it to her because, like, look how good she is. I know she's not fitting the theme. We've got to give
Andy, it was
something. We've got to acknowledge this
flawless.
in some way. So yeah, it was pretty incredible.
And then I think, no, maybe I want to say, and Tanner can correct me if I'm wrong. Best exhibition went to Jared and Cheryl, who did the Krampus with the throne and the lights, and he had music, and it was amazing. And I think best craftsmanship went to this great kid, Blake, who did this Demigorgon, where the mouth opened and closed.
Yeah, nice.
Maybe that's what he got, and Tanner can correct me. Metropolis was amazing. Yeah. Jared's Krampus was best exhibition. That's right. So on to the Demigorgon.
Yep.
No. I'm sorry. That's wrong. I'm wrong. Best lookalike.
Let's look alike.
The
That's right.
Demigorgon got best lookalike.
Anyway, it was a rough year for the judges. I'll give them that because there were, almost any of those costumes that placed could have taken the top prize any other year. The bar really
Absolutely.
getting
They were all
higher.
outstanding. I really didn't have issue. I mean, other than, and I'm being biased, I thought Maria should have gotten higher, but I mean, I'm being biased on that. But I do understand if they were going strictly on horror. Kill me for saying this, but Ashley that did the 50s Elvira, she absolutely did an amazing job. But unfortunately, when she got on stage, she kind of rushed off. Right? It happens to all of us. It's happened to me too. I think she absolutely nailed Elvira, and I think if she didn't walk off the stage so quickly, she probably would have gotten best lookalike.
Tanner says that Demigorgon was the first kid to place with the adults.
Yeah.
That was, and the kid made it all himself.
So anyway,
That was like super impressive.
As I've said before, virtually every year I take some sort of issue with the judges' decisions.
Exactly.
Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small. This year, nothing. They really did nail it. I think J.D. Ellis was a good addition to the judges. Normally, they always take judges from Face Off or more celeb judges who they always have a certain criteria of what they look for in a costume. And I think J.D., since he's a little bit more, he's been around the convention scene for a while. I know he's not a costumer, but he's helped out a lot of costumers in the past. So he kind of ties a little bit closer to what everyone else is, doing, and I think that gives a really nice extra added perspective. Same with Tina, she's been around for a while. I think that made a big difference in the judging as well.
I'm finding out that Maria probably didn't place higher because she didn't fill out her paperwork.
Oh, well, that'll definitely do it.
It's something to do with it. So, okay, so that's something. And I'm also obliged to mention Mike that did little festive PD. Tiny mini PD with a ugly sweater. That was little festive mini PD, and he should have entered the contest because you don't talk best lookalike. Little Vern Troyer of
he win?
What?
Didn't he this one year before, or is that a different PD lookalike?
Few PD lookalikes.
Yeah, there's a lot out there.
PD lookalike contest, which PD's ego like that.
No. Let's have a sexy PD next year, ladies. That's your goal.
Yeah,
We want a
that's
sexy
it.
PD.
April, I want to see sexy PD. That's it. Let's see. But oh yes, 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 and of course the fan favorite, the old school ghost. We got it. We got to mention the old school ghost that was in the contest because that. Sorry, that was funny. That was
I
funny.
shook it.
That was good. There was an old school ghost that just held up a sign that said "boo." But yeah, the whole contest, it was very, very impressive. Really didn't have any issue with anybody. You had a couple of entries that were like, huh? You know, it happens every year. You get your Suicide Squad, you get your couple of Harley Quinns. What, Rob?
I was gonna say, there really weren't even that many of those kind of throwaway, Leg Avenue costumes.
3.
Yeah, so it was pretty low. So I mean, really, I think everyone who was in the costume contest really took it seriously. That's just nice to see.
That was fantastic. It was great to see. Okay.
I wasn't there
Let's
Sunday,
see.
so
Now
I'm
the
just going
last
off of word on that one.
I want to talk about before we get to April. Now, do you think, and I'll let Rob take this first, do you think the Spooky should be in the convention center in the future?
I'm not against it. I definitely prefer it in a hotel situation, but I think, it's hard to make this the judgment call because this was such a reset and a last-minute replacement. I mean, like I said, all credit in the world to Petey and Gina for pulling off what they did. This was not the original vision of what the Spooky in a convention center was going to be. And if I'm not mistaken, originally we were still going to have all the after parties in the Hyatt. So I'll say I'm okay with this idea. This definitely how I envisioned it. I don't think anyone really wanted it this way per se. There was a lot of good there. But I do think it lost a little bit of the closeness that and just the general vibe that we had in the past. But again, this was a really hard one to say this is how it would be going forward. So I like it. I prefer it in the hotel. I think if they kind of have a blueprint for convention and just make it bigger and bigger, they can still do with it. So I'm okay with it.
Okay. All right. What about you, Mike?
I talked to Petey about this. Actually, Petey and I talked for, I don't know, good 20, 30 minutes or so. And I told him that I actually enjoyed it being at the convention center because while it was still a larger room and it was more spaced out, it still had that small family run feel to it. Um, the drawback, as we mentioned before, is getting to the convention center from the hotel, which I think, will be addressed in the future, given where, you know, we're going to be at in the Hyatt and it's just quick jaunt across the bridge. Okay, that's here nor there. Uh, is it better to be in the hotel? Probably so, because it keeps everything localized. But I did like the feel of it being in the convention center, uh, being larger, but still having, like I said, that small family-run atmosphere. You know, especially with them getting a lot of the newer vendors in, a lot of first-time vendors in, a lot of first-time artisans. And look at me using the big word, artisan. Um,
Hey.
People who have great stuff to show and need space to show it in, which may not be applicable to be in a hotel. It's probably better for it to be in a convention center. I'd say, like Rob, I'd like it being there. Being in the hotel, does it have a different feel? Yeah, it does. But I think Spooky's gotten to the point where it would work better in the convention center. And if we stayed at the Hyatt and everything was here and here, as opposed to being in the Rosen Center, being here and here with the convention, I think if we stay at the Hyatt and the convention center, that's a perfect mashup.
from the peanut gallery that pretty much besides the walk, I lived like the center. It was a nice, clean place, plenty of room. Went out then, I guess. Think for it to work in the convention center. Now, granted, disclaimer that I understand this was thrown together in 6 weeks. They did a fantastic job, given that, like I said, it was an absolute Festivus miracle. But I think if it's going to be in the convention center again, over the top. If you remember a few years ago when they had Mayhem at the Rosen, actually, with Halloween Extreme, where they mixed like when you put in Mucklebones and you put in the arcade and you put in all these huge exhibits and stuff like that. When it's something that's over the top, yeah, I'd say, okay, fine, let's go back to the convention center. I agree about the bigness. The vendor's room was great. I just think Spooky has been in hotels for so long. Glad that all of 2017 is going to be in hotels. April, Mike, can you look up the dates for October? Because April we're going to be at the Wyndham, and I want to say it's the 21st to the 23rd. And maybe someone can correct me on that.
Hold on.
Okay, Mike's looking it up. But we're back at the Wyndham, which is where Spooky's, I think it was like 2006 or 2007,
Okay.
they
21st
bigger.
and 23rd is at the Wyndham, and October 27th through 29th is at the Hyatt.
Okay, now what are the dates again for April?
21st through the 23rd.
21st to 23rd at the Wyndham Orlando, and at the Hyatt, October when?
27th through the 29th.
29th, so right before Halloween, and that's back at the Hyatt, which I actually enjoyed. So it won't be as long of a walk. We get back to the Wyndham one more time, where you get that small spooky feel. Maybe if the show grows exponentially by 2018, and if it gets planned right, maybe I'd be okay with the convention center feel. It feels so corporate to me, and it doesn't feel as intimate.
Well,
as big as it is.
Well, see,
Mike?
Here's the thing with that. The only reason it has that corporate feel is because it is the convention center, and they have all these other large events going on.
Yeah, it something was off for me. I didn't like the convention center, not yet.
But if they partner up with Halloween Extreme like they did before, because Halloween Extreme, if I'm not mistaken, they have their own deal.
Of course, or if they partner up with Netherworld,
right?
Something like that.
So if they did that again and do the combo package like they did when it was
something along those lines, absolutely, sure.
That's awesome. The other thing that I liked when they partnered up like that, they had I want to say it was a airsoft thing where you could actually go in and shoot airsoft at people dressed up as zombies. So if they do something like that again, that would fit better in the convention.
See, exactly. If you're doing something over the top like that, then that I could see. If you're going, just balls out, pardon the term, because I know it is spooky and that does happen. Like that, then yeah, maybe when it gets that on big enough of a scale, I'm not sold on the convention center.
I think Spooky is there. I think this year was the actual opening of the door per se. And I know that this one wasn't as great as it should have been, only because it was put together in the short amount of time it was. But this was the opening of the door per se, where you'll have people who say, okay, they've been in hotels, in the past, but now they're at the point where, okay, they can book a venue like the convention center, which will draw in those people. Like
I'm not ready to leave that hotel intimate feel behind. I'm not.
Right. Well, no, I won't say it's leaving the intimate hotel feel behind. What they'll do is they will take the convention portion of it and put it in the convention center and have everything else at the hotel.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
and
think
I
that's what the
understand
original,
that.
I think that's what the original plan was. Uh,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And when hurricanes stop messing us up, and maybe,
right.
like I said, I'm not completely adverse to the idea.
Yeah.
Just right now, I
No,
feel I like my little intimate spooky family.
after being there and seeing what the plan is, I honestly think
Yeah.
it works. I really do. I just think that because of the
Okay.
short amount of time that it
I'm happy
was,
with being the odd one out.
it because of the short amount of time it was, it didn't come together the way he originally wanted it to,
Yeah.
which
No.
we
I
all
completely
understand.
understand that. And like I said,
But
this is just one
but
out. I wasn't a fan of the convention center, but
yeah.
that's just me.
I honestly
Okay.
think that if it would have gone off the way it originally would have been, I think that you'd feel a little
Happier,
different about
maybe.
that.
Maybe. And like I said, I mean, by all means,
Mhm.
and change my mind. You earned my loyalty. You have proven me wrong year after year. You have exceeded my expectations. Challenge. What the hell?
Is he
What
asleep?
is this on my screen?
It's getting late.
Oh dear Lord. I got one more thing to mention. Just shut the hell up,
I'm sorry.
asshole. What's the matter with you?
This is a family friendly.
Um,
Watch the.
anyway. I wanted to bring up
Say
the
hi,
Facebook
Max.
group for the Spooky Empire ticket
Max.
exchange. Now,
Say hi.
some people were unable to make it to the December show, and they're unable to make it to the April show, which again is April 21st to 23rd at the Wyndham Orlando. A lot of these tickets are discounted, and these are the people that couldn't make the October show, so they're selling their tickets, and I'll be putting the link up here and down there and over here and da 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 da. So if you want to purchase tickets that are probably at a discount, before the official tickets go on sale, the Spooky Empire Tickets Exchange on Facebook, join the group, and I think right now there's like 30 people, no, less than 2,000 people selling their tickets, including VIP tickets now. I'm personally going to buy mine there just to help these fellow people out. PD and Gino were really, really great. And even though they had a no refund policy, they made the tickets transferable to either the December or April show. For those people that can't make it, they can recoup their losses by selling them on this. So, yeah, so go to that group, check it out, buy your tickets from there. I bought a couple tickets for October from that group, and it worked out beautifully. So thank you, Will, by the way. Now, the last thing I wanted to end on is suggestions for April, whether it's is things you want to see brought back, guests you want to see brought in. For example, and Perry will laugh at this one. I want a ball pit. Spooky Empire ball pit.
You're
I
retarded.
don't care what you got to say about that. Spooky Empire ball pit. Make it happen. How about you?
You know what? I think it was actually the second mayhem that they did, where they had the Warriors, and they had more of like a retro '70s
feel to it.
grindhouse feel. I would really like to see actors and guests from those kinds of movies come back, and I think it's time for Pam Grier to make her debut at a spooky event.
Okay, I
Pam
take back my
Grier.
Kevin Grievous one. If Pam Grier shows up,
Oh God, you get
You know
Pam
that.
Grier, and I'm the first in line for VIP, guaranteed.
Yeah, I met her once at another convention
Darling.
that I really
see,
enjoyed.
here's the only thing bad about that is, and it's not because of her, it's because of people. They're gonna Pam Grier, Jackie Brown, and she and Quentin Tarantino. You guys are killing me.
Please.
You know what? Here's the thing, Mike, just to make us all feel old. That movie's almost 20 years old now. There's a whole generation that doesn't even know about Jackie Brown.
Yeah, but like I said, there's other movies. There's all of her great movies that oh, the
I just got to show you guys something real quick. Just my here. Let me click over here. Hang on. What a big big fan I am.
That's what I'm saying. That's she.
My cousin did that.
Where's that Foxy
Yeah,
Brown?
that's painting. So that's my Pam Grier. So yeah, I'm all about the Pam Grier. Plus, and if I make a suggestion to double down on the Pam Grier, Williamson. Fred Williamson has not been to Spooky. He needs to come to Spooky. Williamson, we got to get Fred Williamson.
Oh,
if we're doing Jackie, we got to do Fred.
Fred is awesome. I got to meet Fred at another convention.
Fred's one of the greatest con stars out there.
Because
he is awesome. I got to meet him at another convention.
I've met Pam, but I have not met Jim Brown, and I was curious if he does these, because if he showed up, it would just be that's the truth. That's the Holy Trinity.
Here's what we do. We make a bid to do a whole 70s retro deal.
Absolutely. Oh, hell yes.
We get Pam Grier.
Yep.
We get Fred Williamson.
Yep.
Get Jim Brown.
Oh, yes.
Richard Roundtree.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's right.
Gotta get Chef.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting suggestions for Steel fucking Panther, which I am down for. Steel Panther, I'm in. Tanner asked for the Wayans brothers.
Yeah, I saw that. I said that, but I'm like, the Wayans. He wants Homie the Clown.
All right, now Tanner, Mohawk crew, and I'll put this up there. They made amazing guitars. They're the ones that make the guitars and the wrestling belts as prizes for the contest, and they did an amazing job with the slasher guitar, and they did a fantastic job with the Stranger Things work. I'll put their link up there. Go check them out. But I can't get behind the Wayans brothers. I'm sorry.
Well, no,
and I'm holding out. If we're going 70s, I want Udo Kier. I want Andy Warhol, Frankenstein. I want Udo Kier. I've been waiting for Udo Kier for years. So.
He would go in either direction, 70s or otherwise, because he's also,
Oh, he's in Blade. End of Days.
For those who haven't seen him in a lot of movies, they'll know him from Blade. As Gitana, one of the vampires.
Mm-hmm. So, Udo Kier is amazing. I'd like to see the car show brought back. I would like to see Mucklebones brought back. And even for April, I'd like to see the free play arcade come back. I mean, what else would you guys like to see?
Actually, the arcade was cool now that I think about it.
That's always free play Florida, which happens, usually the week before Thanksgiving. So I don't know if they would be ready to promote that early.
Maybe, but it's something that's definitely wanted.
Yeah.
Let's see, I didn't know where they were doing it because I was confused by the convention center, but I think they were playing like horror movies. I think they were playing like Gremlins and stuff. The movie room is always great.
Just allow me to be a pig for just a minute. So many great ideas have been stolen from Spooky over the years. I think it's time. Stop drinking the goddamn drink.
Okay. Are done, and the screaming will stop.
But here's an idea to throw out there. Like I said, a lot of great ideas have been stolen from Spooky. I think Spooky needs to steal from someone else. It's an idea that hasn't been used in a long time. But back in the 90s, Dragon Con used to do a Betty Page light contest.
A Betty Page?
Bring it to retro. Yeah, a Betty Page look-alike contest. That's what Dragon Con used to do in the 90s. So,
you know what? I could see that happening at Spooky, especially if they did the pinup versions where she's like in the riding crop.
But we see enough rockabilly chicks that look just like her walking around anyway. So
that's what I'm saying. There's already women who are kind of doing it there. Why not just fine tune it a little bit?
All right. So, and we have a request for Rob's smoking jacket to come back in April as well.
That can happen. I'm wearing silk pajamas right now. I mean, just check these bad boys out.
Mr. Fancy over there, Captain Man Pretty.
I wear fine silk pajamas year round, not just the smoking.
All right. right. But we are going to open up a thread on our Facebook page, which I'll put up there, for what sort of things that you would like to see at April. Idea of Spooky Empire Retro and going with a lot of these retro, not just the stars that have been to Spooky before, but a lot of these retro 70s and 80s stars, especially for the smaller show.
Mm-hmm.
Idea, I think, bringing some of that back. You know,
I'm
and the stars.
I'm at 1%. I'm about to die. So everyone, been a
So
okay. Then I'll just go black.
fine, go black. People, we mean you people. All right, but that pretty much wraps it up. Like I said, I want my ball pit. I just want to thank everybody that made Spooky what it was. I thought the staff was absolutely amazing.
You know, we need to do a silly string
Spooky was
fight.
good this year, except for the walk. What, Mike?
Silly string fight.
Ooh,
Yeah, a silly string
silly
fight.
string and/or water balloon fight. I'm down with that.
The water balloons is not so much an effort, but definitely a silly string. Just run around and silly string the hell out of people.
Huh. Okay. Under consideration. I like that. No, we're already looking forward to April. And it's great that we got together because I know a lot of us had a big hole in our soul because the normal hole in our soul, but the hole in our soul that's usually filled by Spooky every October. The fact that Matthew got vanquished and we had our Spooky before Christmas, that was fantastic. We got to see our Spooky family. And even despite the walk and despite the little gripes that we had a hell of a Spooky Christmas. Agree?
Like I said, I got my early Christmas gift, so I'm very happy for it.
Yep. We're good. We're good. So, all right. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I want to especially thank the Spooky staff for doing what they did. And yeah, let's let Mr. Man Pretty get his beauty sleep because.
Well, before we go, we all got to give Matthew a Reedus.
Yeah, Matthew, right here. Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks, everybody, and good night.